Welcome back to the channel, Coins Buyers, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in the world of coin collecting: the mysterious and incredibly valuable 1950 wheat penny from the United States that has been rumored to be worth an astonishing $113 million due to a combination of rare minting errors, historical significance, and the intrigue surrounding its production. Imagine holding in your hand a small copper coin that was supposed to be worth just 1 cent but is now considered a priceless treasure by collectors and historians alike. This unbelievable jump from a mere face value of 1 cent to a mind-blowing figure in the millions stems from unique errors and extraordinary circumstances that make this coin one of the most talked about in numismatic history. To truly understand why the 1950 wheat penny is so special, we first need to look back at the context of its creation. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958, featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and strength. However, not every penny that rolled out of the U.S. Mint was perfect. During certain years, minor mistakes occurred during production, and those errors have become treasures for collectors. The 1950 version stands out not only because of its rarity but also because of the mystery surrounding a few surviving specimens that display oddities unlike any other penny. Some of these rare coins show double dies, off-center strikes, unusual mint mark placements, or even a missing mint mark entirely, each error dramatically increasing the coin's potential value. The particular coin associated with the $113 million valuation reportedly contains a combination of multiple minting errors, which makes it almost a one-of-a-kind piece. Some numismatic experts claim that this penny may have been struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual copper alloy, or possibly struck using dies intended for a different year or mint location. Such a mistake could have easily gone unnoticed during production but would later be discovered by an eagle-eyed collector, instantly turning it into a legendary artifact. The mint mark, usually indicating the location where the coin was produced, such as D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark for Philadelphia, is crucial in identifying varieties of coins. But when a mint mark is missing or misplaced, it can make a world of difference. A missing mint mark on a 1950 penny could mean it was struck at a different facility than intended or even as part of an experimental batch. Some rare specimens have been found with the S mint mark accidentally doubled or struck in an unusual position, leading collectors to theorize that a mint worker may have repunched the mark manually, which was common practice at the time when dies needed correction. These imperfections give us a glimpse into the manual processes and human involvement that characterized early 20th century coin production. Unlike modern coins made with computerized precision, the older minting process left room for human error, and those errors have become the most prized finds. The 1950 wheat penny's high value is not only due to its physical flaws but also its backstory. There are accounts suggesting that one of these error pennies was part of a private collection belonging to a well-known collector or even rumored to have been displayed in a private museum, further adding to its mystique. Some speculate that the astronomical valuation of $113 million was set not because of intrinsic material value but because of its rarity, historical context, and the demand among ultra-wealthy collectors who are willing to pay any price to own a unique artifact of American history. Just like famous paintings or rare stamps, rare coins hold sentimental and historical importance that transcends their intended monetary purpose. When it comes to error coins, the more unusual and verifiable the mistake, the higher the value climbs, sometimes beyond what anyone could have imagined. For example, pennies struck on the wrong metal planchet, such as steel instead of copper or vice versa, have fetched thousands or even millions at auctions. So if a 1950 wheat penny exists with multiple confirmed errors, like a double die, off-center strike, and mint mark anomaly, it could indeed be seen as a perfect storm of numismatic wonder. Additionally, the historical setting of 1950 adds to its intrigue. Post-World War II America was a time of industrial growth and modernization, but the U.S. Mint was still transitioning between older and newer minting technologies. This transitional period created opportunities for accidental variations, which today make those coins fascinating study subjects for collectors. The possibility that a 1950 penny escaped into circulation carrying these layered errors only to be rediscovered decades later makes the story even more exciting. Whether the rumored $113 million price tag reflects an actual transaction, a speculative collector's valuation, or an exaggerated legend, it underscores the passion and obsession coin enthusiasts have for such discoveries. Even though many of us may never come across such a coin, it serves as a reminder to always check our change and appreciate the stories hidden in everyday objects. Every penny has a journey, but some, like the mysterious 1950 wheat penny, carry a story worth millions. The next time you see an old Lincoln cent with worn wheat stalks on the back, take a closer look, because history might just be sitting in the palm of your hand, waiting to reveal its secrets and perhaps, just maybe, a fortune beyond imagination. One of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coins, a tale that has left collectors and historians both fascinated and amazed. The incredible case of the 1958 wheat penny from the United States, a coin that has become legendary for its supposed value of an unbelievable $366 million. A figure that seems impossible when you remember that its face value is only 1 cent, yet the mysteries, minting errors, and rare mistakes behind it make it one of the most extraordinary and talked about coins in numismatic history. Imagine holding in your hand a small, copper-colored coin minted over 60 years ago, something that most people would ignore or toss into a jar, and discovering that it might be worth more than the most expensive diamond or a private island. The 1958 wheat penny has captivated the attention of collectors for decades because of the combination of unique errors, its fascinating backstory, and the questions surrounding how such a coin could have ever left the U.S. Mint. To truly appreciate why this penny could command such a staggering value, we must go back to the late 1950s, when America was experiencing industrial growth and technological change. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which had been in production since 1909, was nearing the end of its run, with the wheat reverse soon to be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The 1958 pennies were among the last to feature the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse, and millions were struck that year at the Denver Mint. However, not every coin that rolled off the presses was perfect. Some displayed strange and highly unusual features that would later make them legendary. Among these are the rare error pennies that appear to have been struck with a doubled die on the obverse side, creating a slight doubling effect on the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty." The 1958 double-die penny is already one of the most famous errors in American coinage, but when you add the D Mint mark to the story, the one representing the Denver Mint, things become even more intriguing. Normally, mint marks are punched onto the die by hand, and during this process, slight misalignments could occur. Sometimes the mint mark was struck more than once or at an incorrect angle, producing what is known as a repunched mint mark. These subtle differences can transform a common penny into a collector's dream. Now imagine a coin that not only has a doubled die but also shows a misaligned or misplaced D mint mark and perhaps even an off-center strike. That combination of errors would be practically unheard of, and that's where the mystery of the $366 million penny comes in. Some reports suggest that a tiny number of 1958 wheat pennies were accidentally struck using the same dies as the famous 1958 double die from Philadelphia, or that a Denver die was mistakenly overpunched using a Philadelphia die template, creating an impossible hybrid coin that should not exist. If even one such coin truly exists, it would be unique, the only one of its kind, and in the world of high-end numismatics, uniqueness is priceless. The sheer rarity of an error like that would make it an ultimate prize, capable of commanding astronomical sums at auction. The rumors of one such specimen existing have fueled speculation for years, with collectors claiming that a private owner might hold this one-of-a-kind piece, while others believe it may still be out there waiting to be discovered. Whether fact or legend, the possibility alone keeps interest alive. The Denver Mint in 1958 was a busy place, producing hundreds of millions of coins, but like any human-operated system, errors could slip through the cracks. Die doubling could occur if the hubbing process, the creation of dies from master designs, shifted slightly between impressions, causing the doubled image effect. Repunched mint marks resulted from manual correction of faint or misplaced letters, and occasionally, a die from another mint or year might accidentally be used. Each of these rare occurrences adds layers of mystery to how certain coins came to exist. The 1958 Dewey penny's mythical value also speaks to the passion and obsession within the collecting community, where the line between history and legend often blurs. While it might sound unbelievable that a 1-cent coin could be worth $366 million, the market for rare coins often defies expectations. Wealthy collectors have been known to pay tens of millions for unique items, especially those that hold deep historical significance or are considered one of one. The allure of owning something truly irreplaceable drives the value beyond what most people could imagine. Furthermore, the final year of the Wheat Penny series gives the 1958 D coin added historical weight. It represents the end of an era in American coin design, linking it emotionally to decades of U.S. history, from the Great Depression through post-war prosperity. For many collectors, that emotional connection combined with a spectacular era makes the 1958 Dewey penny one of the most desirable coins ever rumored to exist. And if such a coin has indeed survived, it would not only be a masterpiece of minting anomaly but also a living artifact that embodies the blend of art, science, and chance that defines coinage. Stories like these remind us that sometimes the smallest objects can carry the greatest value. Every mark, every imperfection, tells a story of human hands, historical context, and the unpredictable beauty of mistakes. So the next time you find a wheat penny dated 1958 with that small d under the year, take a close look. Examine it for doubling on the letters, for any unusual strike marks, or for a mint mark that looks slightly off. Because who knows, that old penny sitting quietly in your collection might just be a forgotten relic worth hundreds of millions, a simple coin transformed into a legend by the tiniest twist of fate. The 1958 Dewey penny is a perfect example of how a humble piece of metal, once meant to represent a single cent, can transcend its purpose and become a priceless symbol of history, error, and enduring mystery, reminding us that even the smallest treasures can hold unimaginable stories and unimaginable worth. We are exploring the incredible story of the 1941 wheat penny from the United States, a coin that has stirred excitement, speculation, and amazement across the numismatic community for being valued at an astonishing $234 million, a figure that seems impossible for something with a face value of just 1 cent, yet becomes understandable once you uncover the mysteries, minting errors, and historical curiosities that make it so extraordinary. Imagine finding a simple penny in your change, only to realize that this small, copper-colored coin could be worth more than some of the most famous pieces of art or luxury properties in the world. The 1941 wheat penny, part of the Lincoln cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958, has become one of the most discussed and controversial coins because of its unusual minting anomalies and the theories about why certain versions are so rare. To understand why this coin could reach such an astronomical value, we have to look back at the year 1941, a significant time in American history as the United States was preparing for its entry into World War II. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to keep up with the demands of an expanding economy, and during this massive production effort, mistakes inevitably happened. Some of these mistakes created coins that would later be identified as rare error coins, and the 1941 wheat penny is one of the finest examples of this phenomenon. The basic design featured President Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the classic 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and unity. But not all pennies struck that year came out as intended. Certain 1941 pennies exhibit double-die obverse errors, where the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust appear doubled due to a slight misalignment in the die engraving process. Others show off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or repunched mint marks, which are small details that drastically change a coin's desirability and value. The mint mark, a tiny letter near the date that tells collectors where the coin was made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and none for Philadelphia, can make a huge difference when it comes to identifying a rarity. For example, some 1941 pennies have been found with a mispunched mint mark that overlaps with another letter or appears in a slanted position, a result of manual repunching by mint workers before modern automation took over. Even rarer are the examples that completely lack a mint mark when one should be there, suggesting that a die intended for one mint location might have been mistakenly used at another. This kind of minting anomaly creates endless fascination among coin collectors, as each error tells a story about the coin's production and journey through time. The 1941 wheat penny's supposed value of $234 million comes from a perfect storm of rarity, speculation, and mythology. It's believed that one specimen contains multiple overlapping errors, including a double die obverse, a misaligned reverse, and a misplaced mint mark, all on a bronze planchet of slightly incorrect composition. Some experts theorize that during the early 1940s, when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with metal compositions due to wartime material shortages, a few experimental strikes might have been made using leftover metals from previous years or alloys that didn't conform to standard specifications. If a 1941 penny was mistakenly struck on a transitional planchet or a leftover from the 1940 batch, it could exhibit unique metallurgical properties, instantly elevating its status to a once-in-a-lifetime find. Collectors often compare it to other famous era coins like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double-die penny, both of which are worth tens or even hundreds of thousands. But the 1941 variety has taken on almost legendary status because of reports that a private collector once paid a record-breaking sum for it at a confidential auction. While such claims are difficult to verify, they fuel the imagination of collectors everywhere who dream of discovering one of these elusive coins in circulation or tucked away in a forgotten jar. Beyond the monetary value, what makes this coin so captivating is the story it tells about craftsmanship, error, and chance. During the 1940s, minting technology was far from perfect. Dies were engraved and repunched by hand, and minor misalignments were common. What was once considered an imperfection has now become a window into the human side of coin production. The small mistakes that escaped unnoticed only to be celebrated decades later as precious artifacts. The 1941 wheat penny symbolizes how history, chance, and curiosity can turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. And while $234 million might sound unbelievable, in the world of high-end numismatics, where wealthy collectors compete to own one-of-a-kind pieces, such values reflect more than just rarity. They represent prestige, history, and the thrill of owning a piece of the past. Imagine the countless hands this penny might have passed through, the pockets it might have jingled in, or the era it represents, a time when America stood on the brink of monumental change. The possibility that a seemingly insignificant coin from that era could become one of the most valuable in the world is both poetic and awe-inspiring. It reminds us that the value of an object is not always determined by its material worth but by the stories and mysteries that surround it. For collectors, the 1941 wheat penny is more than metal. It's a tangible link to a bygone age, a testament to human error and beauty found in imperfection. So next time you come across an old penny, especially one dated 1941, take a closer look, check for doubling on the letters, an odd mint mark, or even a faint misstrike, because you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. That small coin in your hand could be part of history, a masterpiece born of mistake, and just maybe, the next penny worth more than $234 million, waiting to astonish the world once again.